So hey everyone, welcome back to Rebecca's Colouring Arts and Crafts. So today I'm going to do some book reviews before I get onto my colouring videos. The first book that I'm going to start with is Sandie Dockers The Cottage at Rosella Cove. So this was provided to me by Penguin Random House Australia in exchange for a review. And just a warning now, I know I usually try to do these spoiler free, but unfortunately with this book I can't really do so much of a spoiler free. So just because of the fact that unfortunately it's just too vague with spoiler free, I just tried doing spoiler free. So I want to talk a little more about the book, what goes on in the book, how the story goes, some of the characters you meet, and just I feel like for this book it's not going to work so well spoiler free. So I'm going to just get onto it, and if you don't want to watch a video with spoilers, then please feel free to click out of this video. I will keep trying to do spoiler free as much as possible because I'm usually not a spoiler person, but I found it too hard to explain this book in a way because there's so much depth and storyline and just content in general to be able to try and do it spoiler free and not sound very vague and blah about it. So yeah, so basically we're starting with our character Nicole, who lives in the city with her boyfriend, I think it's Mark, and he's a lawyer in a firm, and she's just lost her mum and she doesn't have much left for her except Mark and her best friend, which I can't remember her name at the moment, but basically her best friend, I think it's Jane, and she's trying to be an author, so she's trying to get her book published, and eventually she succeeds at getting the book published, but it seems to cost her her friendship with Jane, and things also start going downhill with Mark. So it's like Mark just, I guess he's acting a bit funny towards their relationship and a bit controlling, and it's just she basically loses everything because of that, so all she has left is Mark. And it sort of comes to a point after she's lost Jane and she goes to get some money out to I guess leave because she's realised she's not happy there, that she discovers he's basically spent all the money she's earned from a book award and her publishing stuff, and so she begins to make plans to basically just leave and slowly build up the money and get out of the relationship. And this is where it comes to where she finds an old cottage in exchange for some renovations for free board and rent for 6 months at Rosella Cove. And so she pretty much leaves her ring and leaves Mark and moves to Rosella Cove, and she intends to keep to herself. She doesn't want to get to know the residents too much. She doesn't trust herself or know anything. But then she finds Ivy's letters, and she meets Charlie, who basically Ivy saved by letting him stay there because of his past and his history. And Ivy, it's almost like Ivy can relate to her, that someone else has lived in that same cottage that's provided pain and hid pain and fear and sadness, and it's almost like Ivy's letters become her friend, and she gets to know Ivy and why the people of the town love this cottage so much and want to help her out and work on the cottage. And at the same time, Charlie, I guess, finds someone else to find some friendship in, and they have, every Sunday they play Scrabble on the board, which is an Australian pastime game, basically. And as she lives here and renovates the place, she gets to know some people who become her friends around town. She gets to meet Mandy, who starts teaching her how to cook and how to do things, and Danny, who she kind of is interested in romantically, but she's too scared to step out of the bounds after Mark, and because she's lost everything and she has no parents, no family, no friends, and so she's reluctant to let people in. But slowly over time, she begins to find happiness living at Rosella Cove and working on the cottage, and with these new people that she gets to know, but she's still scared to reveal her past to them because she's worried that these people won't stay by her when, I guess, when it comes to the rough truth of it all, and she's scared that people will chase her off and she won't be able to have friends still. And so eventually it comes to the crunch time where Mark, her former fiance slash controlling, manipulating boyfriend, finds her, and when he turns up again, he starts trying to manipulate her all over again, saying why would she want to live here and that she should come home, and she eventually realizes that no, that's not what she wants, and she tells him to get out. But then unfortunately in that process it comes down to Danny happens to see him there, and he mentions about him being her fiance, and so Danny kind of storms off because he's also had his issues with girlfriends and trust and things like that. And eventually, after she tells Mark to get out, Mandy comes along and she finally reveals her full story, and it's like Mandy basically tells her she knew there was stuff going on, but she didn't know just how much or how big it was. And then Danny does come back and she explains it all to him, and he sort of admits that he hasn't been true about his past either. And so, oh, we just got a thunderstorm starting. But yeah, so he admits that he hasn't been totally truthful about his past, and she reveals that Mandy did tell her a little bit about his past, but not a lot. And so they decide to start fresh, and basically in the end Charlie, shall we say, passes away, and he's in the meantime tried to follow through his promise to Ivy to mend what happened with his son, and Ivy had left the cottage and things to him, and in the end, from what I know, his son offers to rent out the cottage that she has renovated to her for another 12 months before he looks into selling it. And I think Charlie leaves a bit of the inheritance money to Nicole as well. And so it sort of ends off basically with Nicole and Danny basically together, because Danny has supports an orphanage overseas, I can't remember where, and basically it ends off with Nicole and Danny in a relationship, and Nicole is heading to basically go over there to be with him and meet the kids and stuff like that. And that's another thing too, she is basically, Mark considers her barren and doesn't want to be with her properly after they find out about that, because she has, I guess, child has issues with being able to have a baby or have a child, and Mark considers her barren because of that, and that's another manipulating factor. And in the end, she has to tell Danny about that because she knows how much he wants kids, but he's still willing to basically work things out with her and get to know her fresh without shall we say, judging her because of how she'll struggle to have kids and all of that. And so it's actually a very emotional story. There are aspects in here also with Ivy's letters where she loses her husband due to the war against Japan, and that's how I mean by Ivy's letters almost become Nicole's friends, because Ivy's letters are basically revealing same sort of feelings that Nicole's feeling, except hers are the fact that she no longer has family, she doesn't have friends, but she starts trying to mend bridges anyway at the end of the book. And it's just a very sweet and compelling story about realizing the strength inside you and the fact that you can still have friends even when things are hard, or even if you've got nothing, there's still a chance out there for you to have friends, to have a relationship, to achieve your dreams and goals in life, that you don't have to lock yourself up and hide yourself away. And I just found, as I said, I was in tears a lot through it, but I really enjoyed it at the same time. It was a very sweet and also, I guess, sweet and touching, but also a bit like, no, or I don't want to see her that way or see her in that relationship, or just, I guess, it plays with your emotions. As for a star rating, I can't give it a particular star rating because, well, you've probably noticed I give most of the books I read high star ratings because I really enjoy them. But it's just, normally I can't rate things when the emotional sort of stuff comes into it, and I don't want to, so I'm just going to say that I would highly recommend reading this book. Sandie Docker also has her debut novel, The Kookaburra Creek Cafe, which I haven't read, but I would be interested if I ever got the chance, for sure. And yeah, I really love the cover and how it sort of has little aspects of things relating to the story in there. So I really hope you've enjoyed this review. I'll go back to trying to be spoiler free as much as possible for future videos, but there may be odd ones where I can't really do it spoiler free. And so yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe and comment, and I will see you next time. Bye!